Hey, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Boat. I am Tommy Scoville. I will be your captain this evening. Good to see you all here. So the thumbnail was to somebody had sent me a message, and it actually made sense. It was a message that said, "You know what? It seems to me like if anybody is new here, all they know is that you went to prison and that you robbed some banks or whatever. But I did have a life before all of those things happened, and I had a fairly legitimate life. And a part of it was me doing sports, and I skied at a pretty good level. So that photo that you saw in the thumbnail of me upside down, that was April Fool's Day in 2001, and that was the last time that I did anything like that in front of a crowd. That was it. That was sort of my retirement, I guess, so to speak. I was way too old to be doing it at that point anyway. But so that is what caused me to hit my head on the snow often. If you over rotate one of those, it tends to cause some brain damage. Okay, so Mama Scoville actually did a pretty decent job. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of background that I think is important to understand exactly what's going on here. And Mama Scoville is or was in education. She was a teacher, and then she became a principal. She started a school, but it was always, Patrick Taylor, good to see you. But she was always surrounded by kids. And for that reason, the game thing is something that she knows a lot about. So we are going to be visiting Fun and Games. And there, as I promised, there will be a special appearance by Mama Scoville, who has never once appeared on either Chase the Heat or on my channel. And there you go. Perfect. See that? And you said she wouldn't show up. All right, let's get into this thing. I wanted to start with one that is unusual. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to describe these games, and you are supposed to tell me what these games are. Now, we're going to even the playing field because there is obviously a split-second advantage to people in the United States versus people in Europe. People in Europe, their answers have to go all the way across, right, and all of that jazz. If that's not the case, don't argue with me because I'm going with it. It seemed last week like the Americans had just a split second on every single. So here's what we're going to do. If you're American, you have to do this. You have to do the answer in the form of a question. You know, the what is, the who is, and all of that, like Jeopardy. Come on. Keep up, people. All right. Well done, Brandon. Excellent. So here we run. The first, what game was patented as a 32-gram, let me see if I get this. It is a 32-gram fully manual anti-gravitation device. I wouldn't have got this, people. I would not have got this. This, and I'll give you another hint. This was all the rage in the 80s. And you would see it a lot at Grateful Dead concerts, often done by people in a circle. In order to patent something that has never been patented before, you actually have to, it is a 32-gram, right, fully manual anti-gravitation device. Yo-yo, no, but that's a hell of a guess. See how he's thinking, right? Hell of a guess. Pinball, nope. What is a slinky? No, but not a bad one either. Moon shoes, that's a great answer, but no. Okay, you know what it is? And when I say this, you're going to go, oh, man, it's a hacky sack. The hacky sack. Ah, Goosebumps actually got that in. There's no way he typed that as I was saying it. So Goosebumps 801, it is a hacky sack, patented as a 32-gram fully manual anti-gravitation device. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. Did you play with hacky sacks? If you were a deadhead, Blue Girl 77, I'm glad you're here. I don't know that I've ever said hi to you. But hello, welcome to the boat. If I have said hi to you, you know what? I'm getting old, and I tend to forget things. But Full of Hope says, "What's a hacky sack?" You don't have to form it in a question, Full of Hope. You're on the other side of the pond. Yeah, we are glad you're here. Blue-eyed girl, da 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 da. Hand pink waving. Okay, so love hacky sack, says Jason P. Brandy, happy Saturday to you too. Once you said in a circle in the 80s, I got it. Yeah, you know what? It was you would have hacky sack circles. So I grew up in one of the stuffiest towns in the entire world, right? A town called Woodstock, Vermont. And the vast majority of all of the property in Woodstock was owned by the Rockefeller family, right? They literally own this town. And for that reason, they have some very vicious zoning. You can't change anything. Like all of the homes that are around with the village green. So the 2-lane road goes like this and splits. So traffic's going this way on one side and this way on the other. And it goes around about probably 3 or 4 acres of grass and trees in the center of town. It's called the village green. And the Rockefellers got bent out of shape because the students were playing hacky sack there every day. And a perfectly round circle of like brown where all of the grass died because people were, playing hacky sack, and they were not happy. Like this was really something that had the town up in arms, so to speak. Okay. All right. So moving on, people. Milton Bradley inspired a phenomenon when it launched the deceptively simple console at New York's Studio 54 in 1978. Odd place to launch a game, but they launched it at Studio 54. This game sold for the equivalent of $96 today and was designed as both a single and multiplayer memory game that required users to pass 4 colored buttons while repeating and an increasingly longer sequence of lights and sounds. I see Pong. Nope. Let's see. Jump the gun on that one, says ZW. Did you say someone got it? Oh, you know what? Goosebumps 801 got it. No, you know what? Lemmy looks like he got it first. Did you get Lemmy? Mama Scoville says Lemmy. You cannot argue with Mama Scoville. It is a very bad idea. You know, you shouldn't argue with anybody that's Italian and like 4'3" tall. Just a bad idea. She's not really that short, but she's pretty short. Leisure, good to see you. What is Simon? Says Anik Alexander. Simon is a game that I was ridiculously good at as a child. Like the very first time that this thing came into the house, it was very evident, very fast that I did this way better than anybody else. The idea is this. You have 4 colored, it's a round circle, and there are rectangular shapes that are slightly curved that break into 4s. So you've got a red, a green, right? So you got 4 different colors. You got red, green, blue, and yellow. And the first time it comes on, it goes yellow, and it goes deep, and you hit the yellow. Then it goes deep, deep, throws another one. And then you keep doing it, and you see how many numbers you can get to. And if you're really sharp, you might be able to get to, say, 6 or 7 of them. Was that not in the form of a question? Whoa.
Keep going.
You know what? I don't think that was. You better put these things in the form of a question. Unless you're in Europe. Anik says, I am very familiar with the Simon. I really enjoyed that game. It was a fun one. Okay, here's one. Released in 1989. This game sold 1 million units within the first 2 weeks. It is a video game system which came packaged with a very popular game known as Tetris. Its 30-hour battery life made this thing a craze that has sold over 110 million units. 110 million units. We have, what is a Nintendo? You know what? I can't give you that. Blue Girl, I believe, let me check, make sure that she is the first. Yes. Yeah, Blue Girl got it. Blue Girl got it. Well played. Well played. Yeah, apparently, I didn't know this, but I'm going to educate everybody, as Mama Scoville has educated me. The Game Boy was Nintendo's second handheld game. Did you know that? I did. This is not something I knew, and I bought a bunch of these because Spanx Calhoun could break these things like they were cotton candy. I was forever having to replace them. But so its second venture into handheld video games, and it found immediate success. The small gaming system, which came packaged, The first one was called. Oh, it didn't have a name apparently. Oh, it was called the Watch. The Nintendo Watch. And the Nintendo Watch then became the Game Boy. I still have a Game Boy, says V. I will bet you a lot of people here really still have a Game Boy. They really were pretty tough. It's just that my son was such a savage as a kid. I mean, honestly, he had mad skills at breaking things. I don't think he did it on purpose. He was really a boy. You know, he was absolutely a boy. Okay. Okay. Are you ready? In the 80s, what began as a 1960s Belgian comic evolved into action figures and a popular television show, video games, and countless stuffed animals, and even a macabre UNICEF commercial. There were dozens and dozens of these action figures to collect. Belgium. Come on, people. You should know this one. Do-wah, 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 do-do. I am not seeing it. I see He-Man, nope. Spider-Man, nope. What are the Smurfs? Patrick Taylor. Yes. What are the Smurfs? There were dozens and dozens of action figures to collect, from Papa Smurf to the Smurfs Nemesis Gargamel. Some of those today can fetch over $100 a piece. Two major motion pictures in the past decade have helped bring a resurgence to the Smurfs in the United States, while steady interest in Belgium has helped lead over 400 figurines in the collection. Boy, there is a bunch of them. That's right. And only one female Smurf, Smurfette. And she did not have a problem getting a date. Right? I mean, she pretty much had the pick of the litter, Smurfette. I do know a game that no one has probably ever played in this room. Okay. Give it to me. What's the game? I heard the background Smurfs were dead children. White hate was snow. You're kidding. Wow, that's vicious. I hope that's not true. They lived in mushrooms, I think. That's exactly right. They did live in mushrooms. And and all of them sort of had, there was a genre to all of them. Like there was a guy that always had on a work belt and carried a hammer. His name was Handy Smurf. It's a card game called Flinch. What if Smurfette was a lesbian? Then she was lonely as hell, Rose. Never occurred to me. I'll be really honest with you. It never occurred to me. Maybe that's because she was always flirting with one of them. Who was the guy with the exploding boxes? Jokey Smurf. He was always playing practical jokes. Handed you something that exploded. Okay, let's see here. Why won't it turn the page? Okay. This stuffed animal. You ready? You ready? It was children who froze to death and found after the thaw. Well, that is just disturbing. Buck Buddy. The town they filmed Smurf movie in kept the blue paint after the film crew left. Part of a tourist attraction now. I'll be darned. I will be darned. All right, are you ready? Here it comes. This stuffed animal captured the attention of boys and girls everywhere. It was his ability to talk and move both eyes and mouth. This was revolutionary at the time. It could read bedtime stories, and there were a slew of other things this could do. Hello, John. What is Chucky? Not a bad guess, but no. What is Teddy Ruxpin? I see it. I see it. Yep. The guy JT. Well done, guy JT. Well done. I'll be honest with you. So Teddy Ruxpin came long after me, right? I was not the Teddy Ruxpin generation. So, but that thing creeped me out. There was something about the way that the eyes and mouth moved. I didn't like Teddy Ruxpin at all. I'm not joking you. I found that thing really, really creepy. But it occurred to me when Mama Scova was putting this thing together and I was looking at it, that do you have any idea the kind of Teddy Ruxpin they could make today? Like you could ask the bear anything and it could answer your questions. It could have a full conversation with you. They're going to make an AI bear for kids and it's going to be terrifying. You should put a Slayer tape in a Teddy Ruxpin and watch it sing. When batteries went weak, it would freak you out. I see it again. I never really got to play with it, but I just saw it a couple of times. And CGBT, CBGT Teddy. Creepy. Blake Richardson says, hi, full of hope. Was Teddy Ruxpin a gremlin in a bear suit? Could be. Or when they tan without batteries. All right. Are you ready? This is funny, and you'll know why. So, safety did not always come first with toys. When this toy first came out in the 1950s, it was made of metal. It was re-released in the 1980s in a plastic version, which led to a load of injured ankles. It was a vast improvement over the metal ones. However, it was still very dangerous, but it did not deter kids from bouncing around the neighborhoods. Nickelodeon made many safety upgrades for the 1990s version. What is lawn darts? Great guess. I mean, the way I started that is the right guess, but no. And what's really funny, pogo stick, another great one. Nope. Gas pogo. There was a gas pogo? Nope. Somebody said it earlier. Somebody said this. Mitch, good to see you. Somebody said this thing earlier. It faces at the moon, says boing, boing, boing. Oh, I should almost give you credit for that. These are moon shoes, people. Someone said it earlier. Apparently, moon shoes got released 3 different times. Lawsuits through every one of them. But since you brought it up, I'm glad you brought it up. The lawn darts. Can you believe that they sold those things? I mean, I remember one summer living in Vermont where I think we got 3 different sets from people. You know, like other relatives and whatever. There were all kinds of lawn darts around. And you would go what? Like, and if you played teams, right, you'd have 2 people on one side and 2 people on the other, and you're firing these darts back and forth. What could possibly go wrong? If they came out with a bag of glass, right, just had broken glass particles, it wouldn't be as dangerous as the lawn darts. Okay. There was a catchphrase with this particular toy, and the catchphrase was, I have the power. I have no idea if I'm doing that right at all, because that's just what it says. But this was another one that was way, way beyond my time. Yeah, blue, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. It was just really a bad concept. Okay, look at all of you and look how fast that was. See, I missed this and you all know it. Mama Scoville said you were all going to get this. And I said, you know what? No one's going to, everybody got it. You were right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you kidding? Everybody got this. And then Power of Grayskull says Lemmy, which is really on the money. Blue Girl did form it in the question. So did Seventh, though. And here we got, by the power of Grayskull, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe action figures were on many Christmas lists when Mattel debuted the line in 1982. Following the exploits of He-Man and his fight against the Skeletor, Masters of the Universe, 70 original action figures, 70 of them, spawned comic books, television shows, movies, and She-Ra spinoff. 8 video games. Mattel answered calls from fans of the 1980s hit and released a new Masters of the Universe Origins collection beginning in 2020 with He-Man and Skeletor. I never once played with those like that. I think they, by the time that was launched, 70 Goosebumps. That's what I said too. You got to be kidding me. There were 70 of them. What did She-Ra was his twin sister? See, I didn't know any of this. You people have way more on the ball when it comes to, maybe I'm just older, I guess. I don't know. But I collected different things when I was a kid. I was into different type of stuff. And by 12, like skiing was a really big thing. Music, like the Walkman, the Sony Walkman became like the biggest thing in the world. Heather Joy says the kids I would babysit for had them. Dolph Lundgren played He-Man in the movie. You know what's something? Dolph Lundgren, you look at that cat and you would think to yourself, this is a muscle-bound dude. And he's, you think of the characters he's played. I must break you, right? He never had that. He never came across as a guy that you might think had anything on the ball. That man is a super genius. Like, Lemmy says, nope, Tommy, I am older than you. Maybe I was just playing with different things. Yellow Walkman. Blue Girl knows. The yellow, I have an original. I have a series 1 in the blue. It's about that big, the square one. I have one that is flawless. I mean, it is absolutely perfect. I actually have it in the garage. You know what else I have, which would freak everybody out? Because I'm not even sure exactly how this worked out, but weird synchronicities. Dolph Lundgren's name has come up 3 times in the last 24 hours. The man has an IQ so high, it would scare you. I saw a special on him. Like, he's super, super gifted. I was born in 77 and I had one. This makes me want Cocoa Puffs. The underwater Walkman. The yellow one was the one that would clamp all the way down and you were cool and they were waterproof. And those were really, really a big deal. But yeah, one of the cooler toys I ever had was a remote control hovercraft. It only ran for 5 minutes on a battery that took 6 hours to charge, but that was a hell of a 5 minutes, wasn't it? Okay, so one of the really, really big ones for me, believe it or not, when I was quite small, what I wanted more than anything in the world was called a green machine. Do you remember the green machine? Full of Hope had a hovercraft too. My pager, the coolest things ever. Oh, pagers. I lived through pagers. So the other thing that I have that makes no sense, I have a Barbie doll. By the way, I didn't acquire this until I was in my 50s, but I have a Barbie doll still in the box. M. Hunt says, my brother had the green machine. Yeah, like a big wheel, except instead of having a steering wheel, you have these two like shifters. Ultra Maggot never had a pager. The green machine was amazing. And apparently Johnny put it together. I didn't find that out for years, but Mama Scoville like grabbed Johnny and said, you need to put this together for your brother. Anybody ever have a Merlin? Heather Joy. Yes, I had a Merlin. Big wheels. They make them for adults now, Goosebump. There's no reason you can't get one. Zero turn. Heather, Merlin had a game called Magic Box. And depending on what Merlin did with what he shot out, there were things you had to do to make it sort of get back into. I could sit there and go like this and just crank out one right after the other. I knew every single move. My hands would move. My friends would go, what are you doing? And I would just keep cranking. I loved that game. I would buy one of those today if they still made Merlin, or if I had one that was in really good shape. My youngest hybrid is named Merlin. I want to get a mint on the box, pretty in pink Barbie. They are hard to find. I don't know what this one is called. I think she's got dark hair, actually, kind of like a short haircut. I saw Merlin. Remember Simon? You got here a bit late. I think Simon was the very first one. I have a Boris chess machine. Very cool. Very, very cool. Merlin was amazing. It really was. I really, really enjoyed that game. And that was one of those things you could plug me in and I would just go nuts. And I would just, honestly, I could do it for hours. Just wear out batteries. Loved it. Pretty in pink. And no, Tommy, I used to have one. I don't know the name of the one I got upstairs. Dark hair, little shortcut. I believe it's a shortcut. But it's still in the box, like it's never been played with. And it is super, super old. Again, I don't know exactly how I got it. Chili Phil. Perfection was fun too. That one I'm not familiar with. Okay. This had a catchy jingle that would drive you insane. If you watch the commercial even once, you would know the jingle and you would find yourself singing it. The Japanese company called Sekiguchi released the doll, which could suck its thumb, in 1974, and it reached the US in 1980. Under a licensing deal with Mattel, the dolls spawned a Saturday morning cartoon series from Hanna-Barbera in 1983 before the fad began to wear off, and Mattel dropped the line in 85. They re-released it in 2004, and unless I see somebody else, Blue Girl nailed that. Yeah, it's the Monchichi. Do you remember that jingle? Oh man, it was awful. Monchichi, Monchichi. Oh, so soft and cuddly. With their thumb in their mouth. They're really sweet. Oh man, it was awful. And it would get in your head and you'd find yourself singing it. It was really awful. So my brother Johnny was living in Burlington. He was a freshman in college, and he had a friend that looked exactly like the rest of them. Blake Richardson says, just a heads up. Tommy and the rest of the crew, I'm going out for dinner. So I'll be hopping out of here in a few. We'll see you all when I get back, if you are all still here. Blake, be careful, right? And the way he said hopping, I'm back to like the moon shoes thing. It's got this, I'm visualizing Blake just sort of bouncing out. Heather says, I remember the Monchichi jingle, and so does Blue Girl. Yep. Cha, 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 cha. Makes me think of Chi-Chi. So Johnny had a friend, and they called him Monchichi. I think it was the hair thing. You remember the Monchichi hair? And like they did absolutely nothing. You could put their thumb in their mouth. There was nothing else that those dolls did. And everybody had them. And there was an annoying cartoon. What an awful, awful thing. Leisure, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Wow, you know something? You guys are really hauling on the it's amazing how fast they did have a bib. Blue girl, I apologize. I forgot. They did have a bib. Oh, Dennis N. Did you see that? The Evil Knievel motorcycle. If you were a boy and you lived in the 1970s, that was the greatest toy of all time. It was the Evil Knievel stunt cycle. So you put the motorcycle in there and you'd sort of plug it in, right? And there was a handle on the side and you'd go, and then you would cut it loose and it would ride a wheelie, or you could get him basically so he was standing on his head on the front fender. Absolutely the coolest game in the whole world. The G.I. Joes were cool. I wouldn't take anything away from it, but Evil Knievel. Yeah, and the loop, well done, Full of Hope. When I had a daughter, I hated Barbies. Trying to unpack them was unbelievable. Even sewed the hair to the box. Lincoln Logs. You know something? That was a game that I actually enjoyed the hell out of too. Lincoln Logs were fun. Yeah, the pull it type. Oh, you had the one where you would take the ripcord, put it in and yank it. I remember those too. I had the ones that did the deal on the side. Legos were fun until you stepped on one. Have you ever watched LA Beast break the world record for walking on Legos farther than anybody else barefoot? Goosebump 801 says, I was a tomboy, hated dolls on principle, and once again, got the wrong gender. You people are going to have to just start like telling me, you know, from here on in, if you just get here and you're new, I want you to say hello. And by the way, I'm a guy, or by the way, I'm a female. Because if I guess, I never get it right. Ever. Ever. Demolition Derby cars. Get a second vote? Yep, Demolition Derby cars were very, very cool. So Legos, the first time I ever saw Legos, right? Because I'm really I'm the Lego generation. But they were not really in stores yet. And I had a friend named Scott, and his dad used to spend the vast majority, Allison, thank you. Allison Stacy is a female. Thank you so much. So he would go, he would leave the country on a very regular basis. And he was picking up Legos on the other side of the planet and bringing them back. So the first time I saw, yes, I gathered that, Blue. So the first time I ever saw Legos, I walked into a room that's bigger than this office, right? And he had a city made of Legos. There was a train that went around the outside of this thing. There were itty bitty little windows in all of like the tall office buildings. And you could throw a switch and lights would come on in all the buildings. Like I had the wrong idea because no one else ever had a Lego setup like this. I thought, oh, wow. I remember telling my parents, I want Legos. And they came home in a box this big. I was like, oh, no, wait, something's wrong. Charles McClellan says, Operation. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Lemmy. I really am. There's absolutely nothing fun about wearing the bracelets. It's really an awful thing. A lot of tomboys here, yeah. You know what? I think tomboys were girls that were always a little bit more adventurous, and adventurous people sometimes experiment. My mom gave me a China tea set for my 5th birthday with roses painted on it, and you probably were not too happy with that. Some people are super dedicated to Legos. I've had friends set up complete castles and whatnot. Crazy. Yeah, this one was the craziest setup I ever saw. I have a friend who's super addicted to Legos. Her entire house, every room has a Lego theme. That is kind of cool, though. I'm not going to lie to you. That's kind of cool. Operation was a fun game. Scoob says she was a tomboy. So, what was your first car? This is a really cool question, too, because almost every single year, this is the #1 selling car in the United States of America. every single year. What is it? When I was younger, I'd rather play outside. Not sure what happened to me. You just sort of start getting. I had Hot Wheels, I had Legos, Hot Wheels, all of them. Ford Escort Mark One, Ford Probe, 89 Isuzu Trooper, 1970 Volkswagen Bug. Dennis had a 65 VW. I'll tell you what, though. Charlie Mullins, 81 Camaro. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Mine was so ugly. Oldsmobile Omega. Mine was uglier than that, Jason. I had a car that you would probably have to look up, right? The first one I had was a Pontiac Phoenix, and I destroyed it in somebody ran into me the second day I had it. A 77 Pinto going 140. That's just not right. 66 Impala. Now, I beg, and he kind of Dodge Dart Sport. Wow. Chrysler Cordoba with fine Corinthian leather. Those commercials were so great. Now, I beg to differ. I don't think any of you are right. Awakened by the Looking Glass. My friend called me in high school and said, dude, I just got a vet. I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, no, I'm going to pick up. And he listed 5 names. And I said, you think we're all going to fit in a vet? He's like, yeah, it's a green 4-door. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, Chevette. I can get a Corvette. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Let me tell you what your first car was. And the number one selling car every single year in the United States of America is the Cozy Coupe. You guys familiar with the Cozy Coupe? Come on, the Cozy Coupe. Usually has a yellow top. It's got red body with the little door that swings open. And they sell more of those in America every year than any other car. It's powered Fred Flintstone style. Like your feet come out the bottom and you sort of just truck along in it. It is that. That sells more cars than any other car in America. It's absolutely the truth. Full of Hopes. What was Full of Hope's first car? It's going to make me jealous, isn't it? What did Full of Hope have? Oh, no way. Yeah, that's just not right. You shouldn't be allowed to have that for your first car. That is just not right. An 88 Volkswagen Fox. I remember those. So the Pontiac Phoenix, somebody ran into me on the day that my sister, the older sister, Sister Scovo, got married. And the guy that ran into me was working off the books at a car lot. And he didn't have insurance. And the guy that owned the car lot didn't want him to get in trouble. And he said to me, walk onto the car lot and pick out a car. It was a used car lot. So I got a Plymouth Dodge Colt. I believe it was in 1986. And I put 2.5 million miles on it in about a summer and a half. Hey, all, out to dinner with the husband? Have a great night, all. Enjoy the night with your husband. I'm glad that he's home safely, snot-faced. I hope you two have a good time. Are you kidding, Greg F? He had a 75 TA with a 455. If it had a clutch, I'm going to die. Yeah, have fun, snot-faced. That's awesome. I'm so glad he's home for you. I really am. That's good stuff. And thank him for his service. Please. She probably didn't hear that. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah, exactly. Really horrible day. And to do it on the day of your sister's wedding was not a great thing either. Dodge Eagle. That was like a cult. It was actually like a cult. Yeah, I had a clutch. My first car had a clutch. I loved it. So a gridded, pay attention because this one's tough. Oh no, dude. Yeah, Greg F, you had a really sick car. I bet you wish you had it today. A gridded. That would be gridded. 25-watt light bulb box and translucent colored plastic pegs had kids creating all kinds of pictures in the 1980s. Illuminated pictures would slowly appear simply by putting the pegs into the panel through the pre-patterned or freeform black opaque paper. And Brandy Bradley gets it. Well done, Brandy. Blue girl, right on your heels. The guy, right on. See, everybody got this one. Everybody got this one. Light bright, light bright, light bright, light bright. I'm going to be really honest with you. I never owned one, but I probably went to the house of like 6 people that had them, and I was always playing with them. That's another thing that you'll step on. My current car is not a manual. Nah, I don't have a clutch anymore either. They kind of, the clutch is going away. Soon they're not going to make them on anything, and I think that's sad. They are painful to step on. You know what the worst toy in the world to step on was? The jacks from 1970. Remember those? They were made of metal, looked like a Chinese throwing star. Jacks was a great game too. But if you stepped on one of those, I remember my dad stepping on one and being the very, very unhappy Papa Scoble. He was not happy with me. There were lots of toys I always wanted. You know something? As I got older, honestly, I went back and bought toys that I wish I had had. Like, I think Johnny and I have both given each other a BB gun probably after we were 35 because we didn't get one when we were younger because we would have shot our eyes out. So we would get the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun. I've given one to him. He's given one to me. Hello, Mark. Yeah, jacks are absolutely the most vicious toy ever, ever. You talk about something you don't want to step on. How about a car and truck together? You wouldn't be talking about the El Camino, would you? Or the Ford Ranchero? You're going to shoot your eye out, kid. Yeah, well done. Well done. Spirograph. You know what? That was one I was about to touch on, people. That is one I was about to. Spirograph, I was never good enough to do it. Wow, so many people who don't know what a light bright is. They were huge. Dang clackers, my knuckles. Ouch. What are clackers? Spirograph was cool. I just never could make the thing look the way it was supposed to. My sister and brother were excellent at it. Stepping on a jamming jack and fall in a Lego. A Subaru Brat is what I would love to have today. You talk about a lawsuit. You know how many times they got sued over the Brat? If you do not remember this, people, it had seats in the bed of the truck. Very bad idea. How cool were Super Balls? Have I got a story for you? My crazy brother, clackers were extremely fun, but very dangerous. Well, that's not a good answer. Clackers. Oh, okay. Glass balls that you slam together with a ring between. Oh, I do know what clackers are. I didn't know they were called clackers. Bong, bong, bong. Ouch. Yeah. So Johnny and a bunch of his friends went to like 4 shopping centers around where we lived. And you had to drive like 30, minutes to get to a shopping center because we lived in the sticks. But he went and bought out the Super Ball machines at every one of these. So they literally had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Super Balls. And everybody basically had, stashes with them in little bags. Guys were carrying them in like fanny packs. And they went into the gymnasium. They shut all the doors and they put on eye protection and they had fights with these things. And I was quite young, but I remember standing at the door and watching him and just thinking, it doesn't look like fun at all. But balls were bouncing off the wall and everywhere. Silly putty's great. I still use it every day in my watches. So did I just see somebody say, how about a Yugo? Let me tell you something about the Yugo. It was the car that broke the $4,000 barrier. You could buy a Yugo brand new for $3,995. We thought Super Balls fired at a potato cannon off the garage door for a ricochet. Dad wasn't pleased. You know something? We had potato cannons. That was a big thing growing up in Vermont. He launched tennis balls at them or things like that. Metal slinkies are awesome. So Chili Phil says, my friend had a Yugo. I had a friend who acquired a Yugo. So by the time, yes, take care, Heather Joy, and good luck. So by the time we acquired this Yugo, I was already probably not being a very good person. And this Yugo was left in a field, and we built jumps. We ran it into trees. It did not take much. Flaming tennis balls, been there, done that. You guys know what a gazilcher is? In college, there was a group of people that were protesting, and they had built shanties on the little quad. But from where we were, you could take this huge slingshot called the gazilcher, and we could do it from inside the dorm, and we would get potatoes. And I'm talking about good sized, gnarly potatoes. And you'd end up pulling this thing back as far as you could and letting it fly. And you're talking like 300 yards. And we were bombing these things onto the shanty people that were, living there. And we were actually fairly successful in getting rid of a lot of them. Yeah, the ice cream guy stopped coming to our neighborhood after we shot flaming tennis balls at him. See, we were all bad kids, man. We were all bad kids. Yeah, bad kids. I didn't know those were called clackers. That really bothers me. I know exactly what they are. I just didn't know they were on clackers. You'd go. Yes, I saw they came out with a plastic version of the Slinky toy. Yeah, that's not a Slinky. Charles, we can all agree on that. That's not a Slinky. Slinkies have to be made of metal. Steel Panther is coming to Tucson in August. Well, I'll be damned. What about cap guns? Oh, yeah, no. Two kinds of cap guns. Did you get the cap guns that came on the red strip, right? And you would put them in coiled around, and those you could just go pop, 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 pop. And then they had the ones that looked like a round circle, and you would put them in there, or you would slide a whole strip of them in the bottom. They were called ring caps. And those babies were so loud. Goosebump 801 says, I was a goody two shoes. Great song, Adamant. Still a tomboy, though. At some point, I bet you jumped ship, though, right? You had to at some point. Luke Skywalker. School turned me into a rebel without a cause. I just didn't have a motorcycle. Turned me into a rebel without a clue. Love twin turbo RX-7s. I owned 3, but the engines didn't last long. That would be, if I'm not mistaken, the RX-7. Is that a rotary Wankel? Maybe I'm wrong. Used to get 50 if a car drove into a junkyard. Would buy a $50 car, trash all night drive, and get 50 from another yard. Wow. Aquanet concrete hair. I have an Aquanet story that's going to freak you out. Ring cap spitball shooter. There you go. So I got to catch up. I'm way behind here. And I had a story. I don't remember what I told. I said, I got a story for you, but I don't remember what the hell the story was about already. And that's just sad. Yeah. No. Oh, Aquanet. All right. So here we go. I'm hanging out with this dude, right? And we were near a reservation, and he was giving me, not like I had a reservation for lunch, like a Native American reservation. And this dude was going to give me, he's giving me money to buy him some tar, and we're just cutting stuff up, whatever. But he says to me, can you do me a favor? I said, yeah. He goes, can you stop at the store? It's right at the border of the res, right? And can you buy me 2 cans of Aquanet? And I said, yeah, I can do that. So I figured it's sort of wife, something like that. So I get him this Aquanet stuff, and I get to his house, and he takes out a thing of Tupperware, and he puts like a half a loaf of bread on the top of this thing, right? Literally a half a loaf of bread, and then takes the 2 cans of Aquanet and just starts spraying them into the top piece of bread. And I'm like, yeah, take care of yourself, Lemmy, please. So I said, what the hell are you doing? Right? The bread apparently acts as a filter, and he filters all of this Aquanet through all of this stuff. And then he starts drinking the fluid that came out of the other side. And I was like, the hell are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh man, there's a ton of alcohol in this. I'm like, bro, I would have picked you up alcohol. You know what I mean? Like I could have got you anything you wanted to drink. And he's like, yeah, but nothing gets you baked or high, whatever, like this. I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm not going to sit here and watch that. But that was Aquanet. Can you imagine? Yeah, don't forget to like the channel on the way out the door. Please do that. Please do that. Ew, says Miss B. Yeah. And there was one that was worse than that. Oh, dippity doo. Dippity doo. Dippity doo. That stuff would turn your head into a bowling ball. I'm so old I had Lincoln logs that were made of wood. So did I. Come on now. Yeah, so did I. No one has said the erector set. I'm kind of blown away by that. Oi. The erector set. You'd get these little metal girders and you'd screw them together. And it always came with a little engine, right? And you could hook a little engine up to some batteries and it would drive the drive wheels. And that was actually pretty cool. I have candles. He says, I did say it. Did you ever play Pink Floyd in a Teddy Ruxpin? Again, I would have liked to, but Teddy Ruxpin was after my time. I used to just see them, honestly, like at my son's friends' places and stuff like that. Teddy Ruxpin was really, I miss Teddy. My mom was an RN at the VA hospital. The guys would drink hand sanitizer. Seen that done. Mix it with salt to get rid of the bonding agent stuff. I've actually tried that. I'm not going to lie. Had one shot of that when I was in prison. And it was the grossest thing I have ever, it was just, and I watched one guy, none of us had ever done it before. The guy takes a shot glass and he throws it back. It's a little plastic thing. Throws back this little shot glass. And we're like, are you all right? You know, we're all waiting to see if he's going to stroke out and die. And he's like this. This is how he's sitting. And I'm over here, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, boy, you can feel it. It burns your stomach. He's like, but I don't think it's any big deal. And he turns like this, and he has a red mark, right, about the size of a silver dollar right here, right? Just an awful, huge red mark. And he's like, what? What are you guys looking at? We're like, nothing. We're good. Let's see. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm going to roll with it. I liked playing Twister with girls. Of course you did. Everybody. I still like playing Twister with girls. Actually, I can't back that up. It's been so long since I played Twister with a girl. It's been so long since I played anything. I'm a monk. So let's see. We got to have one more on here, don't we? Okay. This was made up of approximately 2,000 natural rubber filaments, was invented by an engineer who wanted to make playing catch more simple and safe for his children. After only a few years, at the 1986 invention, Archie Comics picked up the idea, pushing a short series based on 6 living what kind of balls? Come on. Twister was foreplay. There's no question. Naked Twister. Girl off to my own heart. Been there, done that. What is Goodyear? Nope, not a bad guess, though. The Koosh ball. Come on, people. You've got to remember the Koosh ball. I got back from an all-ages church. I missed it after that. Church camp for a week called Reunion. I'm glad to have you back, Crazy Brumfield. Good to see you. While you were gone, we picked up about 600 new friends. No, seriously, we did. Great people, too. Velcro balls, yeah. Nerf. Blue Girl says, I have no idea. You don't remember Koosh balls? They look like just a million little hairs coming out of it, and you could throw it. It was impossible not to catch. It would get stuck in your hand. It was the easiest thing to catch in the whole world. And then they came out with this stupid cartoon where there were like 6 little koosh balls walking around and talking. Absolutely stupid. Goosebumps, there you go. Says, of course. Did anyone ever have sea monkeys bottom out of the back of a oh boy. The ads in the comic books, right? You'd see them and they had little faces and they were cool as hell. And then as it turns out, nah, nothing like that. Full of Hope says, I do not know any of these. Yeah, well, that's what you get for having a Porsche for your first car. Sorry, couldn't resist. Well, let's see if we can get one for you that you're going to know. Right? What is this one here? Okay. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? Full of Hope? Are you ready? Squirrel, paying attention? Squirrel's ready. All right. Cops put mini koosh balls in less lethal shotgun shells. Actually, I've been shot with one of those, and I don't think it was a koosh ball, but they do hurt like hell. Joe 83, good to see you. So here is the question. Coin-operated arcade amusement took a severe hit when this company released its first game system. Founders of the famous arcade game Pong, the Atari 2600, came equipped with 2 joysticks, paddle controllers, a wooden panel printed console, and game cartridges, including Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Asteroids. They were all, of course, sold separately. What year did Atari first come out? What year, people? Pong. Yeah, they're the same clue. Coleco. Coleco was great. It is Atari, but what year did it come out? Come on, peeps. I got faith in you. Anik Alexander says 1979, and I feel like Full of Hope says 1893. I think you're wrong on that one. We have a 79. We have an 80. The answer is, according to this, 1982. 1982. And hold on. Good Lord. Feedback. 82. Look at that. And hold on. There's something you don't see every day. So here's the hold on. There's a little bit more. I was trying to find the price because I think they had the price of it in here. This thing was really, really expensive. This was not a cheap thing. It was over $100 back in the day. By the way, it has been re-released and they're selling tons of them. John Doe says, I was going to guess 82. Chat wins with 77. No, I had mine before that, says Greg F. You had yours before 1982? Well, not according to this internet thing. But, well, you know if it's online, it's got to be true. Cat. We are about that time. Faces of the Moon, Miss B says, what is Nintendo? Okay, last one. This one is super easy. However, it's a two-parter. So don't get crazy right off the bat, right? Because this is probably going to be the last one. So don't get crazy. Okay, these bears wear little belly badges to denote their personalities. They were intended to be American greeting card characters in 1981 until they became plush, stuffed Parker Brothers dolls in 85. Of course, this would be Care Bears. Now, the Care Bears, there were 10 of them. You hear that? 10 of them. What are the 10 Care Bears? Can you come up with even 2 of them? Blue Girl knows their Care Bears. Can you name the Care Bears? You want me to get you rolling? Dennis N is correct. It is Care Bear. But what are their names? Charlie Mullen says, leave a comment after the show. That would be nice. And if you hit that thumbs up rig, that would make me happy too. I'll give you I'll prime the pump, right? We had Love a Lot Bear. Well, according to Greg F., Atari 2600 was released in September of 1977. Is that in the United States? Too old for them says. Who are Grumpy, Dopey, Sneezy, and Doc? I'll give you some points for that. Papa Smurf and Master Splinter. You know what? It's getting late. You are all getting punchy. Friendship Bear. Okay. Miss Dragon gets one. Since you all stink, no offense, there is Cheer Bear, Bedtime Bear, Birthday Bear, Wish Bear, Tender Heart Bear, Good Luck Bear, Love a Lot Bear, Friend Bear, Funshine Bear, and of course, Grumpy Bear. And that is the 10. There's literally like 10 more questions, but we are not doing this. Sexy Bear. I don't think that was one full of hope. I do not believe that was one. Atari Game Systems ran with a screen of green in 1919. No, Ocean Blue in 1492. That's good stuff, man. For real. That is a great comment. Zen Wen, thank you so much. Blue Girl 77 said she had every single Care Bear. Bear, there should have been a Bear. That's an excellent one. Well played, T-Gun. Okay, if you are brand new here, please drop an email over to sober, SOBER, at myyahoo.com. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what your substance of choice was. If you are sober, how long have you been sober? Are you trying to get sober? Are you here because you dig it and you never had a problem? Let us know so we have a better idea who you are. Really helps out. And a couple of you have already done it. In fact, about 6 of you have already done it. So we really do appreciate all of you who have. How did I do? You did well, Mama Scobo. You did well. Yeah. You see, yeah. No one has said anything bad about you in the last like 10 minutes. Oh. I didn't play with dolls. I just cut their hair. Wow. Miss Dragon would cut the hair off of dolls. All right, peeps. Are you ready? Huh? Sorry, I missed the homework assignment. It's all right. We're going to let it slide this time. Do you know what time it is, people? It is 6 o'clock. And do you know what that means? I painted my Barbies with nail polish. Don't ask me why. Charles McClellan knows. Cat. Yep, the chants are coming. Squirrel, do you hear this? You have fans. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This has been another fun-filled Saturday night boat. I'm Captain Tommy, and that is a cat in the basket. Good night, everybody. We love you, and I mean that. Good job, Squirrel. Now she gets treats for doing nothing but sleep. The cat's got a great gig. All right, you ready?